Okay, so this is an official complaint investigation. Please tell me the name of the police department and the name of the officer if you know his name.
Mansfield Police Department, and his name was Officer Armstrong.
Okay, and tell me what Officer Armstrong did that caused you concern or forced you to file a complaint.
Okay, it was me and about 12 of my buddies. We were at a country concert called Zach Brown Band at the Comcast Center on Saturday, August 14th. What happened was the car behind us and the car in front of us, we went with 3 cars, and a couple of them, they had alcohol, and some of them were not 21 years old. I'm 20. They came over and they arrested 3 of my friends for possession of alcohol and did not arrest me because I was not in possession. And they arrested them and took all the alcohol from like where we are. Mind you, obviously there was a lot of alcohol around because everybody was tailgating. There were people 21 years old and older next to us. The officer then told me to go. He demanded that I go into the concert or he would arrest me. But first of all, I was not in possession of alcohol, so he told me to do that. So, and this was at 5 o'clock, and the concert did not even start till 7. So, and they don't even open the gate till 6. So I went over and I waited for about a half hour. They wouldn't let me in, obviously, because the gates don't open till 6.
Mm-hmm.
About 5:30, I forgot that I left my money in my car. So I went over to my car to get my money, and my friend was grilling on the grill because they were tailgating. So he's grilling on the grill. He asked if I wanted a cheeseburger. I said yes. I was eating my cheeseburger. I was done, and then all of a sudden I noticed the cops. It was a female cop and Officer Armstrong. Came back over. She pretty much chased me down, hunted me down, and instantly put me in handcuffs. I asked what I was being arrested for, and he would not tell me. He put the handcuffs on, and they were extremely tight. I asked him very politely the first time to loosen them. He would not loosen them at all. So I asked him again to loosen the handcuffs. He then, while I was in handcuffs, pushed me down. I was standing up, pushed me down into my chair, got in my face in front of about 100 people, publicly embarrassed me, started calling me a pussy, called me a little faggot, and told me to shut the fuck up, you retard. And then I got taken away and I got processed, and after that I had no contact with Officer Armstrong.
Okay, was that the extent of what he did to you, and was he the only officer that you felt behaved inappropriately?
Yes, that was the only officer that behaved inappropriately. The other officers were pretty professional.
Okay. And did he have any reason to put his hands on you in terms of pushing you down? Did you indicate
Absolutely not.
Okay, let me just go through a few questions because they're going to ask these questions as well. Did you resist in any way? Did you indicate you were trying to flee in any way? Give him any reason to have a need to restrain you?
Absolutely not. I was standing there talking to him, asking him if he could loosen the handcuffs.
Okay.
He said no, and then pushed me down into my chair.
Okay, and your only reason for asking him to loosen the handcuffs was because of the discomfort and the pain?
Yes, my wrists were it was very, very tight in my wrists.
Okay, and you told him that more than once and he did not help you?
Numerous times, about 5 to 6 times.
Okay, now the name calling, had you called him any names? Had you done anything offensive to him that would get him agitated or give him grounds to talk to you in that way?
Absolutely not. The only thing I said, can you please loosen them? He said no. I said, you really need to loosen these? He said no. I said, officer, this is ridiculous. These are very tight. Please loosen them. And that's when he pushed me down, got in my face in front of everybody while I was already in handcuffs, and called me a pussy and said all the other words to me.
Okay. And Officer Armstrong, was he doing this in front of another police officer?
Yeah, there was a female officer there. I'm not very sure of her name.
Okay. And she would have witnessed this. Was she close enough to hear what he was saying?
He should have been. I do have another witness that was there who also filed a sexual harassment report against Officer Armstrong because he was calling him a faggot and all this stuff to him after that.
So he did this to more than one person?
He did this to me, and then he also did it to one of my friends who he charged with possession of marijuana. He started calling him a faggot. No, he called him a faggot, and my friend Jake actually went down to the police department and filed his own sexual harassment report.
Okay. All right, well, based on what you've told me, I do believe you have grounds for a complaint on 2 grounds. One is if those handcuffs were too tight and you complained of pain, he should have adjusted them. And if he clamped them down as hard as you say, intentionally, you may have grounds for an excessive force complaint. Even if you don't have grounds based on that information, you certainly have grounds for him to put his hands on you if he pushed you down in the manner you described and there wasn't any need for it. That is excessive force. The third thing is the unprofessional conduct. Under no circumstances is an officer allowed to make the kind of comments he was making to you. If there might have been a bank robbery or some other thing where they're trying to get somebody down, they might use profanity or some other language that wouldn't be appropriate, but it might be considered less harsh if under the circumstances you were in a dangerous situation. But in a situation where you're already cuffed and cooperating, there's no reason for him to use that kind of language, and it's insulting not only to you, but I have gay friends. It's kind of an accepted thing now, unless you're really ignorant. There's no reason.
There's many gay people there.
Yeah, there's no that kind of word is offensive. It's like using the N word. So I don't appreciate it. It's offensive to me, and I'm sure it was offensive to everyone who was standing there. And if there was someone who was gay who was there, it certainly would have been offensive to them. So let's do it this way. We will help you file your complaint. I have enough information. I'm going to stop the recording here.